The Newsday continues here on One News Now Business. I'm Diego Castro. Here are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate fronts. Analysts see a quick uptick on inflation for the month of August, ending 6 months of a steady decline. A Businessworld poll of 18 analysts yielded a median estimate of 4.9% for August inflation. This is well within the Bangko Central's 4.8 to 5.6% forecast. If realized, however, this would be faster than the 4.7% print in July 2023. Analysts point to the spike in rice prices due to lower domestic harvest and rising import costs. Analysts also cited agricultural damage by Super Typhoon Goring, as well as rising prices of oil and peso depreciation. Now, to address the rising prices of rice, the government is set to implement a price cap on the staple, which the Trade Department clarifies is only a temporary measure and will be lifted as soon as prices stabilize. The DTI asked affected rice retailers to bear with a cap for now, and that it is still finalizing the possible aid for them. The agency also warned that those who will not abide by the price ceiling could face penalties and administrative cases.
Hinihingi ng pamahalaan yung sakripisyo ng mga retailers na medyo tumulong rin sila sa mga mamamayan, sa nakakarami na based sa computation namin, pwede kasing ibenta pa na siguro hindi naman lugi, baka wala lang kita. May mga pinag-usapan na subsidies and mga ganon, pero these are still in the works.
Meanwhile, the DTI vowed to crack down on hoarders amid the soaring prices of the Filipino staple. The price cap, which ranges between 41 pesos and 45 pesos, will be effective starting Tuesday, September 5.
Masyadong kakaiba yung pagtaas ng bigas. So, malinaw na lumalabas na malinaw na may mga ebidensya ng hoarding and profiteering and price manipulation. Pero, kailangan imbestigahan, puntahan yung mga bodega, hanapin tong mga to.
To give us his insights on this price ceiling on rice, we have with us on the show Leonardo Montemayor, Board Chairman of the Federation of Free Farmers. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us on One News.
Good morning also, and thank you for the invitation.
Okay, sir, let's get right to it. How will this price cap impact our farmers? Do you think or do you see any benefit to it? Does the negative effects outweigh the benefits of this measure?
Well, first of all, we acknowledge the good intentions of the President behind the issuance of Executive Order number 39. But I think the problems that are emerging now could have been avoided or mitigated had there been prior consultations with the stakeholders, especially the farmers, our farmers, as well as our retailers. So on the farmer side, for instance, the day after the announcement on the signing of EO 39, immediately there were reports from the field of the prices of palay dropping by about 20% or more. So this is very difficult for the farmers to understand and accept because they're still recovering from previous months' increases in production costs, the effects of calamities, and so on. Secondly, again, if the retailers had been consulted beforehand, then perhaps they could have mentioned the fact that if at all they will be subject to these price caps, there should be a relief package in place. And of course, they're now asking how come they bought their stocks to be sold at retail at prices above the 41 and 45 peso cap. So it doesn't make sense for them to continue their business and continue selling rice if they will lose their shares in the process.
So you mentioned, sir, that aid to our farmers, but the admin has clarified that this is temporary. What could have been a better measure to taper prices? And speaking of aid, what aid should the farmers be receiving at this time?
I think the basic uh, analysis behind this EO39 was that there is no shortage of rice. We have enough supply,
Okay.
and in fact, according to the government, the main harvest crop is already starting.
Okay.
So if there has been a continuing and dramatic upsurge in the price of rice, it must be because of other factors, principally, supposedly, abuses by some unscrupulous rice traders. So
So are we
brought
talking,
about
sir,
by
about...
hoarding,
There you go.
etc.
Sorry, sir. Yeah, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, but our own analysis says that there is a tightness in the supply of
Okay.
rice, among other things because of the prices of imported rice, which supplies about, I'd say, at least 20% of our overall rice requirements,
Mm-hmm.
has really raised to a very high levels the prices of this imported commodity. And then this is exacerbated by the ban on rice exports from India, which is the world's biggest exporter of rice. So it's very difficult now for our importers, uh, if they will still continue to import. And then our local sources of rice
Mm-hmm.
from our domestic production do not yet supply enough of rice to meet our domestic requirements. So a combination of insufficient domestic production, coupled with a dramatic decline in the importation of imported rice,
Mm-hmm.
I think all have contributed to a very tight domestic supply right now. And of course, if you have a situation where the supply of a commodity is very, very tight,
Mm-hmm.
and then the demand more or less stays the same,
Mm-hmm.
it's not we can very well understand why there is a dramatic increase in the price of that commodity. So
Yep.
it's really the tight supply,
Mm-hmm.
especially during the next 2 weeks, where not too much harvests will still be coming in, and then of course,
Mm-hmm.
the National Food Authority has practically zero buffer stocks.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a recipe really for the continuing increase in the prices of rice.
Yes, you've mentioned these factors, sir, for the increase of the prices of rice. But recently, government agencies have been intensifying their crackdown on hoarders. Do you think that hoarding is a major or a main concern also? You mentioned it a while ago, but is it a main concern for the uptick in the prices of rice?
I think it's a contributory factor,
Mm-hmm.
but to us, it's really more the tightness of the overall supply. That
Oh,
is the
okay.
main cause of the rice crisis right now. And this running after hoarders, although that should be done by government, it could have also a sort of unintended consequence
Okay.
of further reducing the supply of rice in the market. Because if a bodega, for example, of rice is raided
Mm-hmm.
and then padlocked until they can produce their legitimate documents.
Yes.
So for that period of time, their supplies cannot be released to the market, and therefore they cannot assist in increasing the supply. So that's another aspect that has to be looked at.
And recently, there have been many weather disturbances. Agri damage from enhanced southwest monsoon is now at almost 900 million pesos. What do you think this is the effect ating harvest season, sir?
Yeah, it will have an effect in the sense that even if the palay that's now growing will survive after being waterlogged
Okay.
by heavy rains, it might delay the harvest of these areas a little bit more. It will also take more time and more expense to dry this palay properly. So it could delay the arrival of the main harvest, especially in the northern part of the country.
You said, sir, it may take more time to dry this palay. Do you think that more time would incur more cost and therefore another uptick in prices?
Definitely, it will add to the cost because the drying period will take a longer period, and of course the costs of a longer drying process will have to be will be going up.
Okay. And lastly, sir, when do you expect prices of rice to finally stabilize?
Hopefully around, I would say around the middle of October.
Mm-hmm.
The main harvest should be coming in greater amounts. So between now and October 15 is still
Okay.
1 month and a half. But the most critical period right now is between now and I would say the second or the third week of September, when
Okay.
the tight supply of rice may become even more tight, especially since imports are not coming in to augment the local supply.
Okay, and thank you very much, sir, for your insights. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Leonardo Montemayor, Board Chairman of the Federation of Free Farmers. Thank you again and good morning, sir.
You're welcome, and thanks for the invitation.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. Finance Chief Ben Diokno is pushing for a review of the program offering free college education in state universities and colleges. Diokno called the program inefficient and wasteful, citing a rise in the dropout rate. Diokno proposes a national examination to qualify for the national subsidy. He says this would optimize the allocation of resources funded largely by taxpayers. However, the Group Alliance of Concerned Teachers, or SUCs, is opposing Diokno's proposal. The group says Diokno's efforts to, quote, scrimp on tertiary education subsidy appears contemptuous of the Filipino youth. The Monetary Board welcomes 2 new members on Saturday. The Presidential Communications Office announced National Treasurer Rosalia De Leon and former Finance Undersecretary Romeo Bernardo as the new members of Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas' policy-making body. Their appointment brings the current number of Monetary Board members to 6, which includes Chairman BSP Governor Eli Remolona Jr. and members Finance Secretary Ben Diokno, Bruce Tolentino, and Anita Linda Aquino. President Bongbong Marcos has yet to appoint a seventh member. The Monetary Board will meet on September 21 to discuss policy, which they kept steady at 6.25% in August. As Western governments limit user access to TikTok, citing security threats, the short-form video app continues to gain traction in Southeast Asia. The Philippines, for one, is one of the leading users of the app, owned by Chinese company ByteDance. Cathy Yang spoke with Tof Rada of ByteDance on these concerns and what TikTok's plans are in the age of generative AI.
And we've so far seen partial and total bans. I've lost count, but I've been able to capture India, Canada, European Union, Pakistan, Afghanistan, the US, where at least 29 states have already banned TikTok from government devices. Why do you think that is? Where here in the Philippines, we're swiping away and entertaining ourselves with TikTok.
We want to build user trust in the platform, and we take very concrete steps in every market that we operate in to build this trust. And that includes talking to all policymakers, to government officials, explaining to them precisely what we are doing to preserve data security, to adhere to all data privacy laws. Also, our CEO said one of the commitments that he said during the congressional hearing is that TikTok will remain as a space for freedom of expression, and we will not be manipulated by any government.
Now here's one of the inevitables, far more certain than geopolitics, and it comes in two letters: AI, generative AI. How do you think that is going to disrupt the very business model of TikTok?
Well, truth be told, Kathy, we haven't really enacted any policies around AI. I'm sure we're studying that. It's an evolving space. So we are constantly on the lookout how it develops. As far as our community guidelines are concerned, we have put up some mechanisms on our community guidelines to prevent harmful use of AI. We have mechanisms in place through our community guidelines to police that sort of behavior.
Just the negative side? I'm thinking about what AI can do to enhance the platform.
I mean, we talk about the creativity, right? We talk about it being a canvas for creativity. I would imagine that a lot of the creators would utilize AI as a tool to enhance that creativity. So I think that's the opportunity. It would enrich the experience of users who are creating content through AI on the platform.
Catch the full interview on Thought Leaders with Cathy Yang tomorrow, September 5, Tuesday at 9 p.m. Manila time, only here on One News. And those are the top business stories of the hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News, all sides, all the time.